Hey everyone, I have an awesome, super special guest with me today. This is Jen Polk of From PhD to Life. Hello. I have her here today because one thing that I get a lot of email requests from people who are like, "Hey, can you do an informational interview? Like, I'd love to learn how you got to this point and all sorts of good stuff." And unfortunately, I don't usually have a lot of time to be able to do these. And I also have this thing where I really hate talking about myself. And so I like to not do not to do that too much. So I sort of, I've heard that Jen has recommended this in her program and she recommends that people reach out to do informational interviews. And so we got together and I was like, do one with me and then I could put that on YouTube and at least get this out here. And maybe if it's a friend, it won't be too painful to, yeah, sort of just talk about myself. So, with that said, there's my little intro. Jen, I will pass it to you.
Yeah, thanks, Echo. So, if our friendship here is taking a turn. I don't know if you'll like me after this.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah,
scared.
so yes, Echo is correct that I am often in the position of telling my clients and other people, so professors, PhDs, other postdocs, etc., folks who are ready to leave academia. That's my basic client, but really any job seeker, especially folks that might be thinking about changing careers, informational interviews are your best friend. And yeah, as Echo said, when people email you and say hey, how did you get started? I want to do presentation skills training business too. I want to pick your brain. What they're asking for is an informational interview, which is a very boring way of, yeah, saying, tell me things about you so that I can implement them in my life and make improvements, mostly about your career. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, dun dun dun,
No.
informational interview. So, okay, well, let's jump right into it then. Echo, what do you do? What do you
Okay.
do?
So what I do is I run my own company, like self-employed company of kind of one and a half, I guess, where I help people create better presentations, like presentations that blow people's minds, that captivate audiences, that actually get people listening to you, understanding you, and hopefully taking action on what you're actually saying. So because I have a PhD, I sort of, really started with working with a lot of academics and researchers and evaluators and scientists. But really, I help sort of just like any professional who, yeah, just needs to get their ideas out using presentations. So I do that mostly through professional development, like through training through my online course. But I also do like one-on-one stuff. I do coaching, and sometimes I will actually design presentations or other visual communication things for people. So, yeah, I run my own company now doing that.
Yeah, awesome. There's a lot of things in there, and I want to pull some of those things out in the
Sure.
next questions. But let's start in the past. I have a
Mm,
history PhD. So let's start.
of course.
How did you get into doing this kind of work in the first place?
This is why doing these can be so tough because it's like my story is truly kind of it's a hot mess, to be honest. Like part of it starts in childhood. So, like part of it, it's just like a lot of little pieces here and there. But so, I'll try to maybe start with like the most recent, but yeah, if there's anything in there that you want more, that would be helpful. Like if you want a more detail, let me know. But basically, like I was saying, I got my PhD, and while I was in grad school, I initially wanted to be like R1 professor doing research. Like my PhD is in psychology, but not clinical track. Its research track is community psychology. So community-based participatory research. I wanted to be in the community doing research, all that good stuff. But when I was in grad school and I saw what it took to get a tenure track position in the first place and then to actually get tenure, I that sort of started falling apart for me. I started realizing that it's just not going to work with my personality, with my brain. It's just not going to be a good fit. Um, and so by the time I actually finished my PhD, I already kind of had like one foot out the door. I was ready to get like a non-academic alt-ac kind of job. And so I did. I got one at like a nonprofit research and evaluation center, not affiliated with the university, just like an independent research center. And I did that for a few years. And again, it just was like not working out. Like I had to leave not just that job, but just being a researcher in general. And so I was at this position where I was miserable. I was depressed. Like I hated every single day. I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I kind of just like realized I needed something else. And I was like, what am I gonna do? Like what? And then this is where like my childhood almost comes in because like I've always just been kind of like a weirdo, I guess, like always interested in like design and storytelling and the arts and graphic design, all that stuff, like web design, all these things. And so, even from a kid, all the way up until this point where I was ready to quit my job, like 3 years post PhD, I'd always done really creative, like out of the box design stuff. I did a lot of like self learning, like self teaching. And I always pursued communication opportunities, even all the way up through the end of grad school. And by the time I even entered grad school, I had a reputation from like students, from teachers, professors, instructors, and they were always like, "How are you even like that was the best presentation I've ever seen. Like I don't even understand. Like is this PowerPoint? Like what are you even using, right?" Like I had already had this reputation. And then not just for presentations, but just like again, like what I did like web design for like, psych high, like a it's like a group for psychology. So like I already had this reputation of being like basically a visual communicator. So that was all I had. Like, and so that was what happened was I was like, I need something else. I need to do something different. And I started my own company. So
Love that. I love that. Sorry, I'm gonna resist the urge like editorial. I want to do like a director's cut after this of like all the comments from like career coach comments. I won't do that, but I will say I will make one comment that I love on the surface level, it's like you were a PhD in research, working as a researcher, and then whoop, presentation designer, and that's like super counterintuitive. But actually, you're saying no. Actually, I became more me,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Aha,
Yeah.
that's like the first way that's been articulated. And like I remember being like all the way up until I quit and like no, literally like even up until now, really. Like I'd always seen other people who were like, I feel like I was meant to do this ever since I was a kid, blah, blah, blah. I never felt that way in grad school as a PhD. Like I'm a first gen student. That there's like a lot in there about that. And I just like never really felt like I fit in. It didn't quite like feel like that perfect fit. And I was like, yeah, I just kind of like fell into it because I was just like interested in psychology. But as I've been kind of like preparing for this interview and just like some other things, I was like, but if I think about the design and the creativity, I can actually say that. I can actually be like, man, since I was like 5 years old, like actually there were signs that I was like going to end up here. Like, so yeah, I feel like the way you said that is actually really good.
Yay! So just so folks watching know, if I'm looking over here, I've got my notes on my other screen. I'm not. Anyways, okay, that's what I'm going. That's what's going on. What's the most fun or meaningful part of the work that you do nowadays?
I would say so um like I used to hate public speaking. Like I want to start with this because a lot of people see me now and what I'm about to say is going to be very different. And so this actually started because I hated presentations. Like I loved like design and like yeah, web design stuff on my own, but public speaking was my nightmare. I hated it so much. And my coping mechanism, everybody else was like, do Toastmasters, like just do Toastmasters. And I was like, that's even worse. Like that is absolutely not happening. And so I over prepared and I just like I took everything I loved about books and video games and TV shows and just like random stuff. And I put that into my presentations and I over prepared like 10 hours on a 5 minute presentation. Okay. And like undergrad. Like an undergrad class presentation that was worth like 5% of your grade, if that, right? But I was excessive about it. And but like people kept complimenting me, and eventually it took years, but I believed them that it was actually good stuff. So after all that kind of happened, it actually got to the point where like the days where I sit on my desk and I spend 5 to 8 hours on PowerPoint just like creating stuff are my best days. Those are the days I wake up happy. If I know I'm going to be able to do that, those are the days that I absolutely love. I have so much fun just like testing different ideas out and making them come to life with, I use PowerPoint, but it doesn't really matter what you use, just putting that out there. It doesn't, yeah. So like I just love being able to create things. And then I don't edit the videos. That's why I said we're like 1.5 because my partner, I brought him in and I was like, I need someone to edit these videos because I hate editing. That's the one thing I do not like to do. So seeing the video come to life, is really cool. Like it's just really cool to be able to create these things. And so I would say that's like a really like fun and rewarding part of what I do and what I really look forward to just even now.
Yeah, awesome. Love that. It's different, but not unrelated question. What's been most surprising about your career? So let me couch that. Like, if you were going to think back to like maybe PhD student self, what would surprise that version of you now? Or what? Okay, I guess it's two questions I'm asking.
That's okay.
Like
Yeah.
that, like PhD student self, what would surprise her now? And then other people who are imagining things about what it means to do your job, what would they be surprised by?
Oh, okay. All right. Too many questions. Hold on.
Too many questions. I know I'm breaking rules. I'm breaking rules. PhD
Okay.
student you, what would she think?
Okay. Well, again, it kind of like almost depends on what year we're talking because it's like, okay, PhD student year one, um, that version of me would be really surprised to hear that, like, oh no, you're not going to be a professor. Like, that is absolutely not happening. That's not going to be in your life. Um, so just like the role change, I guess, the profession change, I think would be surprising. Um, but then, like, let's say last year, PhD student me, who already was like disillusioned, not wanting this life for myself, um, I think they might be surprised. Me, myself would be surprised at like, um, maybe how soon I would make it happen. So I guess it's not a surprise about what I do. Because I do think deep down, like I always was like even doing like survey, like scale design. I was doing, even that like in grad school. So like, and my parents run their own business. So I grew up in like this environment of like being self-employed, running your own company. So that type of stuff isn't surprising. So like, yeah, I think the timeline would actually be like the most surprising, not even the task. So then maybe to answer that second question of like what might someone else be surprised by if they haven't grown up in an environment of being self-employed and like having that kind of family business environment, you might be surprised by all the things you have to do to run a business. Like you have to learn HR, you have to learn marketing, you have to be like more okay with like the ups and downs and the roller coasters of like making income and having slow periods and like changing with like the times and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I think it is a little hard because I grew up with like a family business. So I really feel like surprise hasn't really happened too much, at least not the top of my head.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if this was like a kind of a real informational interview with somebody who wasn't me asking you these questions, I mean, it's a real one, but I'm self-employed too. Um,
Yeah, true. Right. So yeah, a lot of people I think are the people who ask me do tend to be like grad students.
yeah.
Or yeah, like maybe they're kind of where I was when I was working at that nonprofit research center.
Yeah,
Um,
so people might ask, like, what made you decide to start your own company versus working for a
yeah.
company
Yeah, okay. All
or an
right.
organization or an agency?
Yeah, and so that is just 100%. I was just like, the place I worked was, I'm gonna say this as nicely as I can, was not meeting my needs. Like it met my financial needs. I actually so that wasn't the issue. It was completely like just like mental health needs, career needs. It was yeah, that's the nicest way I can say it. Um and I couldn't do like I could not do it anymore. I was like I cannot work another day in this place. So I do feel like I was forced into it a little bit. But again, I do still feel like it was also me kind of like on accident falling into realizing what actually does work best for me. And so the reason I'm self-employed is because I really feel like that is the only way I can make an income. Like I'm unemployable, okay? Like I'm unemployable. I'm scared to put that out there because, like who knows what is needed in the future, I guess. But like I just like I need to work for myself. Like I couldn't like I can't wake up to an alarm. Like I didn't like I wake up when I want. Like I need that like freedom. I need the agency to do what I want, to choose my own tasks, to if I'm not feeling good, like I need to not work that day and like be okay with it. And so like this was the only way. This was the only option for being able to like live this kind of life that I needed. So that's kind of why for me.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You mentioned at the beginning, you gave kind of a rundown of the kind of products and services that you offer, but I wonder, like, yeah, say that again. Like, what do you offer your customers? Like, what do people pay you for?
Yeah.
As a presentation, design, trainer,
Yeah.
visual community, whatever, all of those things.
The main thing is I run an online course. I run an online course, an online masterclass program. That's like the number one thing. I've recorded all the videos, really, really worked on them. So they were like, top-notch stuff. Like put my best stuff on video and put that in the course so people can take that whenever they want to and however they want to. So that's like my number one thing. That works the best with just like everything. The life I want to lead, the life I can lead, all that stuff. So that's like primary. Secondary is I will do it's like coaching, mentoring. It's not really coaching because I am actually like telling people what to do. Like, like we get together, we get on Zoom, they send their slides, and I redesign the slides, tell them why. If it's not working out, then we try something else. And that's why we do it live together. Um, and so, yeah, I am like, this is how we're going to make your presentation better, kind of thing, but always adjusting for what actually works for them, their style, their personality. Like, I'm not the one presenting it, they are. So it's like, that's kind of the coaching of like, what are your goals? What's your style? What are you comfortable with? What's sustainable for you? That kind of thing. So I'll do that. Sometimes just like a short session. We meet once and thumbs up and they're good. Some people, we do something a little more where it's multiple sessions. Some take the course and then we do the session. So it's kind of like that's where I can customize um, and really like tailor it. And then that's also where I can work on things like infographics, just data visualization, or just like anything else. Like I draw, I do illustration. They're like not high level, but I can like help if people want to be able to do that, I can help with that. So like I can kind of do a lot. Um, and then like the tiniest part of what I do is actually designing slides for others. That's like I don't do that all that much because it's a very high ticket service because what I do is extremely specialized, right? Like I have a PhD in data, and I blend like information design, graphic design, storytelling, animation. Like I blend like 10 different fields together to make your point powerful. This isn't like, Fiverr slapping some circles on your slides kind of thing. So I don't really do that service because again, that can be filled with like Fiverr, Upwork, that kind of stuff. So I do this sort of like you want to do a keynote, you want to do like a TED talk. That's you want to sell your course. That's more of like if I'm actually designing slides, that tends to be who it is. So for everybody else, my coaching and online course tends to be like the majority. So
Awesome. Oh, yeah. Where do you get your clients? How do how do even people pay you money? How does that work?
Oh, that's a yeah. So when I very first started, the first thing I did was I ran a blog. Remember blogging? Like I still have a blog, but
I started my blog in 2006. Oh my Lord. So long ago.
my first blog was around that time too. It was actually about cycling, bicycling. And I drew comics for it. So it's no longer public. No one can find it anymore. But yeah, so I've been blogging for a while. So this was like 2016 when I started my blog. And so yeah, I first started blogging. And then there was this like really cool person on Twitter. And I was like, hey, do you want to like, I'll do a webinar to your audience. And if you haven't caught on, this person is Jen. So that's how long we've known each other. And Jen was like, yeah, like a big boost. I did like a webinar to your audience. So that was like how I found people. But yeah, it was a lot of blogs and cool people like Jen. Um, and then I don't remember when I started my YouTube channel. But it came later, like maybe a year later, maybe 2 years later. So at first it was like, yeah, like collaborations and my blog. And yeah, it's like weird. It's surprising to think about it now. Like I don't know how that worked. Like I'm surprised. And I was really active on Twitter at the time. Not anymore, but Twitter really helped like kind of get my links out to people and then my newsletter and it kind of built up from there. So that's like the very early beginning.
Yeah, awesome. So let me editorialize here. At this point in informational interviews, sometimes people stop and they don't ask more questions about this. But I want people to ask this next question, which is, so if I'm going to start a presentation design or similar business now, what advice would you give me, knowing that it's not 2015? Right? Like right now, it's 10 years later. This is the question I want you to ask, right? Don't do as Echo did 10 years ago, is what I'm saying. So, what advice would you give people starting out now?
And that's so good because like as soon as I stopped talking, I'm like, oh wait, I didn't talk about what I do now.
Okay,
So
yeah.
yeah, that's perfect. I'd be like, okay, well, rude that you're literally telling me you want to create a competitor. Like, what is that? But so yeah, I mean, I do think that YouTube is irritating me. I'm really not liking some of their new stuff. I don't like this like AI dubbing thing that they're doing. Ads are out of control. Like there are so many ads. So, I don't know how long I'll feel this way, but I do still think YouTube is an excellent way to reach people even now. People can still, like I see it all the time. People are starting new channels right now and they, get their channels big. Like it doesn't seem impossible anymore, even though a lot of people are on YouTube. So I think that YouTube is actually a really great way to get people. And I can see, when I look at stats, which I don't really do, but it does seem like a lot of people are actually coming from YouTube videos that are like years old. Like some of my very first YouTube videos are still sending people my way. So I do think that's really good. I think that the other social media platforms, I don't have as much experience with them, like maybe LinkedIn, but I don't really feel like LinkedIn is all that great, honestly. Maybe I just don't use it correctly though. That's the thing. I Big disclaimer here. I hate social media, okay? Like I want a life where I don't use it at all. I want a life where I'm not on LinkedIn posting. So I think that Twitter worked for me in the beginning because I used to actually like it. I used to enjoy it. I would be on there all day talking to people, engaging with people. It used to be fun, okay? It used to actually be fun. You used to meet cool people. You used to be able to meet collaborators and stuff like that. But I feel like now in 2025, it's all just like influencers and trolls and bots. And so I find that like whether it's Insta, whether it's Threads, whether it's TikTok, whether it's even LinkedIn now, it's like it's kind of hard, I think, when that is kind of the environment. But if you enjoy it and you like being on there, then it might be fine. And then like I think maybe that's okay. Okay. This helped me get here. I think my advice is like don't do what other people tell you. Okay, this is terrible. What I'm trying to say is like don't read a blog or whatever about like best ways to find customers and then do that list. Just like think about how you enjoy spending your time publicly and do that really well. And because you enjoy it, you're going to do it well and you're going to do it a lot, and people will find you. Like the right people will find you. That I think is my advice because again, Twitter worked for me because I loved it and I had fun and people could see that. People could like see that like I was having a blast on Twitter. And so whatever that is for you now, do that. Whether it's YouTube, it could be TikToks. If you love like creating TikTok skits, then like do that. Write a book. If you are like, well, why don't I write a book? That would be even better. Like write a book. Like write a freaking book and then like self-publish it. Recommendation here for everybody: How to Write Useful Books by Rob Fitzpatrick, I think. Anyway, so if you want to do a book, I highly recommend that. I thought that was really good. Do just, yeah, like do what works for you. I think that would be my advice to everybody. Yeah. I'm going to stick
Awesome.
by that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Echo. Okay, okay. So kind of wrapping up information interview. Uh, yeah, I have two questions. Let me make it one question. I mean, given where you're at and where you think the industry might go, what do you think you'll be doing in future?
I think what's on everybody's mind is AI. Like, is AI going to take over what I do? And with presentation design, there is definitely um, some AI stuff happening there where people are trying to use it to create their scripts, to create their presentations, and all of that stuff. Obviously, I think it's trash. I think it's absolute garbage. The images are trash. They're just clip art. Oh my God. Like they're not good, okay? Like your custom perfect illustration created by ChatGPT is not as good as just some free photo you found online that isn't as perfect. Like, you know. So that's just me being a little a little salty about AI. And so, but like just because it's bad, I mean, people are still going to do it. And but the thing is that ultimately, I think who that's probably going to impact the most are people who wanted to do slide design as a service, which I already would have recommended to avoid anyway, because again, like literally you can go to Fiverr and pay like $20 and someone will design a presentation for you. It's not going to be good, but like, like that exists. And so I think those same people are probably going to be using ChatGPT or whatever program is out there to just like generate their presentations. And it's not even that I'm mad at these like people for doing it because I do acknowledge that there's like a lot of people out there who have to create a presentation that's just checking a box. Like they don't actually care, right? Like they are just like, my boss needs me to make this stupid presentation. Nobody cares. Nobody listens. Everybody's on their phone during the meeting. Like, generate the presentation, right? For that, I say thumbs up. Like, work your wage. Like, like don't put more effort into a presentation than you need to. So I made a choice very early on. Like, I'm not catering to that world. I'm not catering to that situation because that also just makes me sad. Like, it just makes me sad that people have to be in that job. So I work with people who are like, no, 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 no. This is like, I want to sell my books. Like I want to have a public speaking career. Like I want to be known as the professor in the department who every student loves because I teach so well. So I'm kind of like already at this level of people who probably know and see that AI isn't getting them there. Like it's just content. Like it's not like captivating material. So I would say like, yeah, maybe continue to avoid like slide design as a service. But I do think that there are other design services that people would be interested in and would pay for. And I don't think AI is quite there yet. So like if you want to do like infographics for people, I think there's some opportunity there. Report design, that is so very popular. I get a lot of requests for report design, and I do not do report design. I do not do design using like word processor or I forgot the creative software name for I'm used to Illustrator and stuff. But yeah, so I can't remember the name, but either way, I
InDesign?
yeah, thank you. InDesign. Yeah, InDesign. So like I don't like, you know, I don't mess with that, but I get requests for that, and I get clients who are like sad I don't offer report design, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't. Like I do not offer it. So I think that that is something that AI, generative AI, is not tackling, and I think there's actually still a lot of opportunity out there because reports are like still people need reports. Reports are very common. There's a lot of people who need reports. I think that's actually a really good place and a really good opportunity, especially for people who like to do design work and that kind of thing. So I think there's like some good potential for that one.
Yeah, cool. Echo, is there anything else you want to say to me, your informational interviewer, that's come up for you but we haven't covered yet?
No, that's why I was like, I need to do an interview because like I almost sat down to just try to talk about this in a video, but I was like, I don't even know what questions to answer. So I'm gonna turn that back to you. Is there anything
Yeah.
else that you think someone would ask or you might have asked or like and I don't mind answering more if there's anything.
Well, I think what makes sense is just to reflect a little bit here, and thank you. That's fun. There's so much in here, right? And so if you're somebody, the person watching this video, if you're somebody who wants to learn more about a career or job, or what a person does, like informational interview might be the way to do it. Like, I mean, I sometimes say to my clients, like, don't waste people's time. Watch some of Echo's videos. Maybe read her blogs a little bit, right? Like, sign up for her newsletter. But yeah, this is a great way of learning more. And it's not, yes, it's interesting to learn about Echo because we're humans and we love like, people and stories that's fun and interesting, cool. But also, I think people have gotten a sense that there's a lot of insights that they can take away from what you're saying that they could apply to their own lives. They could filter through their own values and goals and interests, right? And then apply. Anyways, that's a bit of editorializing, but I
Can
think it's
I
it's really rich.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because like okay, again, like I really struggle with like talking about myself because I'm like there's no way anybody's going to find this interesting and I just feel like is this even helpful? Like I like that's like my worry. Like I feel like I am so worried about creating something that isn't helpful. So I am curious what you think. I'm putting you on the spot here, but like what out of what I said might actually help someone do that? Like
Yeah, I mean, so the
yeah.
first two things that immediately come to mind, and I'm sure we could run through the whole interview and there'd be lots in there. I mean, I know it, right? But the first thing that comes to mind is your reflections on changing careers, and maybe you didn't realize it fully at the time, but like the way that it actually makes sense, even though on the surface, I think I said this before, right? Like surface level, it's like counterintuitive that you made such a big switch from like egghead research academics. I say this lovingly, right? So like creative entrepreneur. Like what? That is not the stereotype, right? But I think it's really, really helpful because it gives people permission and to do that for themselves, right? And it might never even have occurred to them, like, oh, you know what? That makes me think about like my own childhood. So that could be like huge. I mean, that could be like the real like mind blowing, to use the expression used at the beginning. Like that could
Ah,
be like one thing that's really mind blowing for people. Does that make
I
sense? That's one
I
thing.
if I can help give someone permission, like that is amazing. Like that, I love doing that. And I do think, like, I did actually, I did recently release a video where I was like, again, this is all kind of like becoming clear now in the short period of time. But like, I did kind of just release a video. It's about, anchors and balloons and all of that. I'll post the link below. But where I am sort of like making the case of like just do what you enjoy. Like so many of us are, when we think about like what skill we want to work on, we think about what other people want or what will help us like have job security. Job security is not a thing. I would actually maybe like that to be a point that people get from this video. Job security is not a thing. Like I was so convinced I was going to be an R1 professor, like truly to like deep in my bones, that was going to be my life. And I feel like I couldn't be farther from that, honestly. So, you know, like the doing one job forever, job security, it's just like not a thing. And so what I would like to give permission for people to do is instead of choosing based on, well, everybody says that this is going to be popular. This made the list of like top 10 majors, right? Like instead of doing that, just do what you enjoy. Because that's what I did. Like I literally just like I read books, I drew comics, I made little books, like little zines and like little books, and I just did whatever I was interested in as much as I could. And then when I found myself like, oh, I got to do something new, that happened to be my cushion. That happened to be my balloon. So, yeah, I think okay, good. Like that is like a good point that I do think I hope people can take away with that. Like the answer of what to do isn't in me more than that, more than saying to you, the answer is in you. Okay, I'm going to just stop.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's not just like your career is making comics, but it's
Yeah.
the marriage is kind of a
Yeah.
weird word for it, but but it's the combination
Yeah.
of the things that you like to do and have always liked to do and
Mm-hmm.
have built skills in and around over the years with a strategic approach to your
Yeah.
career. And we talked about this throughout, right? Like who are the people that you want to work with? Who are the organizations? Who are the ones more likely to like pay the money that you need versus outsourcing of Fiverr or ChatGPT or
Yeah.
whatever, right? So that's all the strategy that comes in here, being aware of all of those
Mm-hmm.
things, and making decisions, saying no to people like, no, I don't do reports. No, I choose not to learn InDesign or not to use it. Maybe I know how to use it, right? But that's the strategy here, right? So it's
Yeah.
the yeah, the marrying. I do what you love, but be strategic about it. I think that's also a great
Yeah.
takeaway. Echo, you're so smart. Did you know? So insightful.
Wow. Thanks. Thanks for making this not painful. Not that like it's ever just for anybody who I have done this with, it was not painful. Like you didn't make it painful. Like so no one read into that. It's just yeah, I find this awkward to do, but this was fun.
Yeah, and it should be fun. I mean, of course, everybody's busy and everybody has different preferences, but it should be a fun opportunity for people to reflect on their careers and give advice to somebody who like wants it, which is all, you like teaching. You like giving advice. That's sort of a
I
thing people
have
like.
I have no problem giving advice. Like I will like I will tell you what to do. Like, so I
Yeah.
did mention that like you tell clients to do these informational interviews. So I do want to like, have you take a moment to like talk about like just a little more about your program and sort of like that context of giving that advice.
Yeah, thanks, Echo. So, yeah, like Echo, well, like we talked about, I'm also self-employed. I mentioned my own business is from PhD to life. Echo said that before. My main thing is I've got a PhD career clarity program, and what I do is I help professors, postdocs, and other PhDs who are ready to leave academia. I help them figure out what they even want to do, right? And then how to get there. So if you're thinking to yourself, like, I need a resume, or I don't even know what kind of jobs to apply for, or what are the credentials should I be pursuing, or is anybody even going to hire me? Like, if if any of those thoughts are in your brain, you got to look me up, and my program can help you. It's really fun. Yeah, it's really fun. Like job searching sucks, yes, but we make it fun in the program. And I also really enjoy what I do. And
Yay.
past me would not have anticipated this,
So same.
but I can also tell the story a different way, like Echo did. Thank you, thanks, Echo. Thanks for having me do this. Thanks for putting me
Yes.
to work.
I will also say to anybody watching, like, I mean, I found you before, like, I found you when I had kind of figured all of this out, and I started my company. But like, when I first learned about what you do, I think part of the reason I even reached out to you was because I was like, oh man, if I had met you and if I had learned about what you're coaching and what you help with before I even took that alt act, non-act job, I think I know I would have saved myself like 3 years of pain and suffering that I still struggle with today. Like it still impacts me. And I'm just like, if I had just kind of taken some time to actually like think about things and like figure out what alignments are there and where there's like actually like a very clear, obvious red flag, and like that's where it's not going to work out for me. Yeah, I think I would have had like I think things would have just like gone a lot better. And so I just wanted to like say that too and just like thank you for what you do and like how you help people and just like how you can help people maybe like not not go down that path. So,
Not suffering. And
yeah.
can I also say I've taken Echo some of your
That's
courses and
right.
my presentations need work still, obviously, but they're way better than they used to be. And people sometimes even compliment me on them. So thank you for that.
Yay. And Jen is also a really good example because I am always like if just in case you've already seen my videos and you know this already, I am a Canva hater. Okay. Like, yes, technically you can make Jen is like literally like the main example. Like, and I'll say this in my emails. Like, I do have a friend who uses Canva and like hers are fine. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Jen. Because like yours are like they're visual, they're fun, like I love them. I love your slides. I love your presentations. Um, but yeah, it's just funny to I just wanted to mention that because like you are the person I'm thinking of when I say that that like I have an ex you know, Jen can do it.
There
Like
you go. I have
someone
been
can do
given
it.
permission. All of you have been given permission. Echo, you want to do the last word? It's your channel.
Well, I'll just say that like if you're still watching, hopefully this was like fun. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Again, I'm always trying to be helpful and provide some value. So yeah, hopefully you found that in this video today. And I guess like if you do have more questions for me, you know, pop them in the comments. And if I get enough questions, like maybe I could be convinced to do a follow-up video if you do want more details. And yeah, definitely check out Jen and her social media and program. Obviously, you know this by now, but like the links are going to be wherever YouTube places them these days, you know, like who knows when that will change, right? So, but yeah, so thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.